Hi, this is Sarah, and today Nichola Hemming is sharing bravely into 2021. Hi, Nichola, thanks for joining me.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me.
Great to see you. And I'd love you to start by just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm a mum of three. I've got a 20-year-old, 24 and a 26-year-old daughters that are scattered around the country in the UK at the moment. I have a spiritual business called the Soul Angels. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I'm also the founder of Women Empowering Women UK, which was founded during lockdown towards the end of September last year. And I live on my own with my husband.
Where are you based?
So we're just outside a tiny little village called Alverley, which is in Shropshire. And so we're in a little cottage with
Nice.
it's got a little a well, and it's got a little brook, and we're surrounded by sheep.
Sounds lovely. So how would you describe yourself to the listeners so they maybe get to know a little bit more about you?
Oh, right. Okay. So I've had quite a colourful life, shall we say, and I've been through sort of quite a lot. I was a police officer for 17 years, so I've seen a lot of things going on as well. But then I took a very spiritual journey, and I am very spiritual, and I don't mean that I'm not religious in any way, shape or form, but that's kind of how I choose to live my life. I just really genuinely care about other people and what happens to the planet, and that's me really.
So you care about other people and what happens to the planet. So how have you used this in building the businesses that you've got?
So having left the police, I got assaulted on duty and ended up with a bad back, and started using alternative therapies to heal myself. And trained in Reiki, hypnotherapy, mindfulness. So when I left the police, I became an alternative therapist and started working with predominantly ladies, helping them through, all kinds of whatever they've been through. And even when I was in my policing job, I worked in schools for a time and started giving talks, healthy relationships, trying to just teach children about, forming healthy relationships when that time came, preventing domestic abuse sort of going forward in their life, just getting them to question, what's going on, rather than being a people pleaser, which is something I did for many years and got stung. And I've just got a real thing about women, I suppose, because of things that I've gone through in my life, which was why I founded Women Empowering Women. It's hard being a woman. It's hard being a human for a lot of people, but, women have a lot more responsibilities, and I just feel so passionately about helping women wherever they are in life, create the best life for themselves and just being the greatest version of themselves that they can possible.
So when you say the greatest version of themselves, what is it that you think is holding people back?
A lot of people are still living in the past, things that have happened to them. I did it myself. I was a victim of life for many years, and the power of quantum physics, or putting it out to the universe, you've almost got to be careful what you kind of give power to within your mind. If you're constantly feeling downtrodden about things that may have happened, in your younger years as a child, or as a young adult, or poor relationships that you've previously had, it's like a never-ending record being played out. And I just want to help women. At some stage you can get off this bus or turn the record off and just change the course of your life. And that's kind of what that's what I help a lot of my clients with, whether that's alternative therapies, whether that's almost the counselling and the coaching side of things, is that at any point we can say enough. We don't have to be a victim any longer, you know, and we can say, I want to change this course and I want to live a better life. And it's giving
I love
women.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, because it's playing into this, actually supporting women where they are to be the best version of themselves that they want to be. So creating this kind of want and this desire that you seem to create within other people. You support other people to create that for themselves by using your life story and what you've been through to really be there for them.
And I think that's it. I think when you, for a lot of people, it's not until you get to rock bottom that you really then want things to change. And for me, it was being homeless with 2 young children and literally walking away and having a couple of bin liners of clothes, and that was it. And it's right, okay. When you're feeling that desperate, you can only look up. And it's, you know, for other people, it might be you've lost a job and it feels as though it's the end of the world. You know, whatever that looks like for you, when you hit rock bottom, that is when, to me, it's the best transition, almost, that you have an opportunity here to completely rewrite the book, rewrite that next chapter, that, you know, you can be whatever you want to be.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's an amazing story. And also now that you create that for other people. So you give a lot to others, but what is it that kind of nurtures you?
Getting out in nature. Whenever I am overwhelmed, stressed, or, you know, been sat at a computer, you know, whatever that is, just getting outside. And it sounds really, really basic, but it's the simplest of things sometimes, whether it's just watching the clouds in the sky, listening to the birds, you know, listening to the wind in the trees. It's one of those where you can just stand still, and whatever you think is really, really important that's going on in your head, the world keeps turning. The birds just carry on about their business, you know, and everything around it just really puts life into perspective. So just going having a walk, sitting in the garden, just going out and sticking my feet in the grass and smelling the air, you know, that's what does it for me every time.
So cool. Bring you back into your senses.
Yeah.
So where is it that you're maybe still too hard on yourself? Where are the bits that you maybe still can't find to laugh at?
I think I've always had this thing, and whether it's a coping strategy, I've always believed that I have gone through so many things in my life, and I've had to experience all of those things in order that I can help others. And then I just get this thing in my mind that, you know, I've been put on this planet to make this change. And I think sometimes I don't switch off. And, you know, sometimes I have to go out in nature and just remind myself that I have a life too. And, you know, it's not just about that, you know, I should be enjoying the experience of life as well. And I think I kind of just get too engrossed in it all. And, you know, I just don't switch off. So that's probably where I'm a bit too hard on myself. Unless I'm doing something each and every day towards my goals, you know, I almost feel guilty for sitting around and doing nothing.
Right. Yeah. Somebody who's very driven and passionate can sometimes find it difficult to allow yourself and give yourself permission to actually take a step back. And yet, like you've said, with when you do and allow yourself that time, it's so fulfilling.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
So if there was a piece of advice that you wish you could have told your 12-year-old self, what would it be?
Oh, not to be a people pleaser. I've got sort of stung so many times throughout my life, whether that's relationships, boyfriends, ex-husband, even, you know, as recent as last year, you know, somebody I was sort of kind of involved in business. I think it's almost as though because I've not wanted to hurt somebody's feelings and speak out or say, you know, that you don't agree with something in fear of upsetting somebody else. You put their needs before your own, and it's taken me a long time to appreciate that you can still be a kind person, but there are times to be assertive and say this isn't acceptable. And if I'd have learnt that at that age, my goodness, that would have saved me a lot of heartache throughout my life.
Okay. So what I'm hearing from you is that there is a difference between being a people pleaser and actually just being clear as to what you want and understanding what's important for you.
I think it's almost creating ground rules and having your own values. And I wish they would teach this in schools, that, you know, it's really important to decide what your own values are and where you draw the line and say, no, I'm not stepping beyond this because, you know, this doesn't feel right for me, and really go with your gut. Yeah. And I think we don't use that, or we certainly don't teach children that enough, you know, go with your gut instincts.
Yeah. That's so true. Listening to what your instincts are telling you and allowing that to help inform your decision, not just numbers and facts. It's there for a reason. And something I always have a discussion with my clients around. We're not made as heads. We've got a whole body, and we need to listen to our whole body. And so I love the fact that you shared that one. Obviously, you know that that's something that resonates with me a lot. So what is your one wish for yourself for 2021?
Finding a balance and really enjoy life and enjoy all of the experiences, and not get too caught up in the hows, the ifs, the buts, the maybes. Just, I suppose, living a more mindful life, you know, just enjoying each day as it comes, and yeah, just being happy. I think, you know, after the year that we've all had, happiness, you know, even knowing what makes you happy. You know, sometimes we're just kind of so caught up in, you know, setting goals or doing this and, you know, on a mission to do whatever. But, you know, do you actually even know or recognise what makes you happy? And I think so for this year, you know, as we come out of lockdown, there's loads of things that, you know, I want to go and, I don't know, we used to go to like music festivals and, you know, just to get out in the fresh air and listen to music or a band or, you know, just whatever, just making memories. That would be really nice. That's what I want to do this year.
Sounds amazing. And if you could increase it to a broader scale, what would be your one wish for the planet for 2021?
Wow. Where do I start?
Just a small question.
Just a change in attitude. And I really do hope this happens, that we come away from this materialistic, egotistical kind of what we've become. You know, it shouldn't be about what designer clothes you've got or what fancy car that you're driving, or, you know, sorry to say, the Kardashian kind of lifestyle. That we come away from that, and it's more, let's spread the word about the kindness that we've been sharing, or, you know, the good deeds that we're doing for one another, and, you know, looking after the planet, and, you know, just getting back to basics, that, you know, just taking care of each other. We should be so proud of, not what, you know, what money you've got in the bank, or, you know, and that's what I really do hope for the planet.
Wow, I love that. That's very cool to actually think about it from a perspective of, you know, walking away from what doesn't serve us and into as a community of the world, what would serve us more.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is one change you're going to make this year to live your life more sustainably?
Well, in October, we moved out to our little cottage in Shropshire, and what we're kind of planning to do is go off grid, and I've got, yeah,
just a small one, yeah,
just a small one. So
You always have small goals.
And it's got a bit of a dilapidated old greenhouse here, but I've already started. So vegetables the seeds are all in, and sort of potatoes and onions and all those sorts of things are in already. So just trying to live a simpler life. I already, I don't use any kind of chemicals. We've got some kind of waste system here that isn't mains, and you've got to be really careful what you kind of put down the toilet and down your sink anyway, but it's actually really, really good, because it makes you very, very mindful of what we are putting sort of into our waste. And so I'm really on a mission to go greener.
Yeah, it's a big mission. But I also love the way it actually aligns with what you've just said about your wish for the planet is for a simpler life. And that's what you're trying to actually live into and create for yourself.
Yeah. And I just, buying locally. So we've got a little farm that sells eggs, and it's so lovely. It's like they've got honey, eggs, and it's, just got a little honesty box. You go and, put money in. And I just think well, we like to do it anyway, but just going to like the local farmers markets as and when they're allowed to open, and even if it means that we end up spending a few more pounds, I'd rather sort of support those smaller local people. And if everybody kept it local, can you imagine, just even, the fuel on the roads, sort of bringing these things out of, different countries. If we just sort of lived off our local land and seasonal stuff, the difference that would make in itself.
Amazing. I love it. So come on, Nichola, you must have a great motivational saying or book or podcast or something that you're going to share with us based on everything you've told us so far.
Well, I've thought about this, but it took me a long time because there's so many. But the one thing that really, really stood out to me, and this was when I was in the police and I was having a really hard time and, trying to climb the ladder at the time, getting no recognition for the work that I was doing. And I watched the film, The Imitation Game. And that's the code breakers in World War II it was about. And Joan Clark, she was the English crypt analyst who was one of the code breakers, and she came out with a quote during the film, and I'm presuming she said it in real life, but it stood out to me so much so that my husband had it printed for me and he had it put on a little plaque, and it sort of sits there in my office. And the saying is, sometimes it's the people who no one imagines anything of who do the things that no one can imagine. And it got me there at the time, and I was so enraged and disappointed at times when I would go for a promotion, or the doors just kept closing, and I just kept thinking of that quote, and I thought, one day I'm going to do something, and you've never ever expected anything from me, and I'll show you. And that it, when you're just having a low day and you just think, what am I doing all this for, or you just read it again, because it does take courage. And sometimes, we just think, well, who am I? I'm just this one little person. I can't make any changes. But, everything that we do in this world, everything that we see on this planet as it is today, whether that's good or bad, was born out of somebody's thought process. Somebody had a thought in mind, however little. I even think, look at J.K. Rowling. Would sit there, and they weren't little books, were they? All these books that she wrote, and they might have, done nothing, but she persevered and she carried on. And there are things like that, aren't there? There are loads of people out there, or people like Joan Clark herself, a woman during World War II, that she was just a woman. But look at her, if it hadn't have been for her, and obviously the other chaps in there, but World War II could have been a very, very different outcome, couldn't it?
Yeah,
So
totally.
to me, I just think, you know, I would rather die trying than not try at all. So you've just got to be courageous and just take baby steps towards those goals or those dreams.
Thank you, Nichola. I had goosebumps when you were talking about that. So it shows what an impact your words do have. And when it's backgrounded against your story, it makes a real difference. And you can, I feel always with you, it's coming from your heart. The words you're saying are coming from a place where, you know, you're trying to support other people. And that to me is so important. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to me.
Is there anything else that you think you might want to share with our listeners before we say goodbye?
I just think it's, you know, whatever you've been through or whatever you're going through, there's always a different path. And there are lots and lots of situations throughout my life. And, you know, sometimes you make mistakes and other times you know, or you make the same mistakes over and over again, you know. But at any point, and it could be right now, that you can change the course of your life. And, you know, there are people out there that would support you. You don't have to be alone. And even if you're at absolutely rock bottom, you know, it only gets better from here on in. And it's never too late to change.
Thank you so much for your inspiration and for really stepping into sharing bravely. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to speak to you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.